No, there we go. Am I live? Is this working? I'm tired of waiting. I can't wait anymore. My goodness. Let me refresh my YouTube page. All right. I think we're live. Good morning, everyone. Man, whew, we got some news. All right. The hearing is coming up in about 30, 40 minutes. All right. And I will bring it to you live as soon as it starts. We'll watch it here. We can talk about it. But in the meantime, there's so much going on behind the scenes in this case. The first thing that I want to show you is the video of the mayor, right, who was doing an interview for TV last night and accidentally let something slip. All right, so I want to show you the video and you can see what you make of it for yourself. So let me share my screen. Let me share the audio so you can actually hear it. And let's see, what application window? Here we go. All right, here we go. I'm going to hit play and be quiet and turn my volume up so you can hear it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yeah. So that guy, whew, he did not mean to say that. All right, and you can see the look on his face at the end where he was like, oh, darn. However, it does say in that tweet, wait, you didn't have any sound? What? All right, hold on. Why did you not have any sound? I shared the sound. Let me try this again. Share screen. Wait, I closed it. Hold on. Give me a second. I know I hit share sound. Open the file. All right. Application window, movies and TV. Share with sound. All right, can you hear this? All right, could you hear that sound that time? If not, no. Okay. Must just not like sharing the audio from this particular window. But tell you what, I have another window we can try. I did upload it to my Discord channel. Let's try it there. Okay, one more try, because you got to hear this. This is pretty astounding. Share screen, share audio. Let's see, Discord. Okay, here we go. Ready? Let me know if you can hear this. Let me scroll my comments down so I can see. Doesn't want to let me. All right, here we go. Can you hear that? Okay, could you hear it that time? If not, there's nothing else I can do about it. No? All right. Well, I did upload that video to Discord, so if you want to check it out, it's there. It is on Twitter. It's probably all over the place by now, so you can find it lots of places. I'm not sure why the audio is not coming through. I did actually click the audio button, but whatever. Anyway, and a reporter was interviewing the mayor, and the mayor was saying, well, this is really sad news, but it's good for closure for the families. And the reporter goes, are you saying that they found the kids? And the mayor goes, oh, but, very interesting. So mayor kind of confirmed, unfortunately, that the bodies that were found, they believe, are the children. All right, so obviously we're not going to have official confirmation of that until the autopsies have been conducted and there's, official forensic testing on that. But the families were notified. Annie Cushing, who is JJ's aunt. Yesterday, I said Annie was Tylee's aunt. That was incorrect. Annie is JJ's aunt. And yesterday she posted some posts basically indicating that it was JJ. So, we have no official notice, but it pretty much at this point, we know everything we need to know about that. We may hear something on that today. Depends on how fast they do the testing. But if they let the families know that they believe it's the children, then there's a pretty good chance that that is the case. So that is very, very... See, Ginger, I thought Annie was Tylee's aunt, but yesterday someone told me she's JJ's aunt. So now I'm all confused about Annie Cushing. I'm going to have to go back and do more research on that. But yeah. Laura, yes, Chad was a grave digger. He did have a job at one point, digging graves, working in a cemetery. And he has a whole story about all of that. Having paranormal experiences while he was working in the cemetery. So, okay, all right. So, yes, Annie is Tylee's aunt. I was right about that. So, whoever corrected me last night, no, it is Tylee's aunt. That's why I said that a bunch of times. But she did post about JJ yesterday. She didn't post using Tylee's name, which is interesting, but she did post a goodbye to JJ, which is very sad. And she said that she was contacted by a victim's advocate, so she was notified about the children and their remains being found. So that's very, very tragic news, not the ending we wanted. There's some other information that I wanted to show you. Here, I'm going to share this screen. And this one doesn't have any audio, so no worries there. Rexburg Police Department put out a statement today. Here it is. It says the Rexburg Police Department would like to release an update in regards to the missing children's case of Joshua Vallow and Tylee Ryan. As you may know, on June 9th, 2020, at approximately 0700 hours, the Rexburg Police Department, assisted by the Fremont County Sheriff's Department and the FBI, served a search warrant at the residence of Chad Daybell, located in the 200 block of North 1900 East in Fremont County. During the search of the property, investigators discovered what is believed to be unidentified human remains. After proper family notification, we would like to confirm at this time that the investigators have discovered 2 sets of unidentified human remains. Autopsy results are pending. And that's from Assistant Chief Hagan. So that's what we know about that. That's what they said this morning. They have not said it's the kids, but, I don't see any other possibility here. So that's pretty bad. Linda, I liked what you said earlier about the prepper punch. Yeah, they've been drinking that prepper punch for a while. So that's what's going on right now. We're just waiting for the hearing. It is going to be aired live all over the place. They said the court is actually going to be streaming it live on YouTube, but all of the news channels are going to be carrying it. So I'm going to stream it from East Idaho News. As far as I can tell, this is publicly available information, and it will be fine. If not, I'll get in trouble, but whatever. Well, at least we'll have seen the hearing. So it's okay. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine because the court did tell the media to share it from their YouTube channel. So, whatever. We'll deal with it. This is a big news. I'm not sure what YouTube channel the court has. I don't think courts actually have YouTube channels, so I was confused about that. I don't know, well, Miss Grace, but I will have it here. I'm going to stream it from East Idaho News because they carry everything live. So we will have it. And it starts in about half an hour, about 30 minutes. Whoa, Miss Grace, I have no idea what the Court's YouTube channel is. I had no idea that Courts had YouTube channels. So they just mentioned that in the press conference last night. It was like, well, we're going to have it on our YouTube channel. And everyone was like, wait, what? You have a YouTube channel? All right. So we got to find that. Oh, yeah, Linda, that's a good point. I'm not monetized yet. I can do what I want. So, yeah, I will be streaming it in about 30 minutes when it starts. So, there was a document released that contained dates that coincide with when the children were last seen. Not sure what that is all about, but interestingly. Yep, Court TV has a YouTube channel, and they will be streaming it like every other news organization from the origin of the court. So you can watch it all over the place. You can watch it here. You can watch it at Court TV. Of course, I hope you watch it here because then we can talk about it together, because I think we're going to have a lot to say after we hear this. I'm hoping that this court hearing is not going to be simply he shows up, the judge says, these are your charges. He says, yes, Your Honor. The judge says, no bond, go back to jail. We'll see you in 30 days. It could be that. All right. So prepare for that mentally. This is just like an arraignment hearing. This is not a preliminary hearing. It's not an evidentiary hearing. They probably aren't even going to release the information in the arrest warrant or the arrest affidavit. We're not going to hear any of that stuff. We're probably just going to see Chad probably appearing via video, because they said that this is a closed courtroom. What they mean is not closed like a secret grand jury would be closed. They mean closed to no spectators in the courtroom, right? Because of their COVID-19 restrictions. So it's closed. Nobody can physically go into the courtroom, but they will be streaming it. And Chad will maybe appear via video, maybe in person. I'm hoping in person because I want to see his ugly face. I hope he's sweating. I hope he's nervous. I hope he's uncomfortable. I hope he's in shackles. You know, and that may sound mean, but you know, it may be mean. Maybe I'm a mean person. I don't know. I don't have a lot of love in my heart for Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow at this point, and you know, especially with what we've learned about the children. So let's see what's going on Twitter. We have Justin Lum has just linked me to the YouTube channel that will be showing it. So I've got it. I will be streaming it from there. That's excellent. Thank you, Justin Lum. All right, we got this, man. We just got to wait. We got 30 minutes to wait. Good morning, Rhonda. How are you doing? I was thinking about you last night. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad to see you here. Yeah, Paula, I try not to be mean, but it's hard to be nice. It's really hard to be nice. Linda, that's the Court TV YouTube channel. I'm not watching Court TV. I'm going to watch the actual courthouse YouTube channel. Does that make sense? So, yeah, Court TV is their own entity. They do their own thing. But going back to being mean about Chad and Lori, these people have, 5 deaths that we know of surrounding them, and probably more, and certainly some questionable deaths like Joseph and Tammy. You know, it's for a woman to have been married 5 times and several of them are dead under very suspicious circumstances. One we know was killed by her brother. He admitted it. One was attempted to be murdered by her brother, that he admitted that too. That's a problem. That's a big problem with me. But yeah, so they're mean. They're terrible. They are serial killers. They have killed up to 5 people. Certainly we know Charles, and now we know the children. So there's 3 right there. Joseph and Tammy are possibly 2 more. So, you know, and who knows who else we haven't heard about. They could have had more peripheral friendships or relationships that we don't know about yet. People that have disappeared. Hopefully that'll all come out in the wash, and we'll get to know just the extent of the damage that these 2 have wrought on the world. And they need to be at least in jail for the rest of their lives, if nothing else. Pandora, you raise a very good point. And if you read Charles Daybell's reports, he made some reports. His divorce papers are very enlightening. He did raise the red flag. He raised the alarms about Lori very loudly before his death. And nobody paid much attention to it. Now in retrospect, you can read them and be like, oh, wow, he totally knew. He said, Lori's going to try and kill me. She's crazy. She's gone off the deep end. She thinks people are zombies. He's screaming this from the rooftops. And law enforcement's like, yeah, well, whatever. It's okay. So, he might have been here still. Tylee and JJ might still be here if someone had taken that seriously and really pursued everything he said. But, hindsight is always a bish, as they say. Paula, that's a really good point. There's a lot of speculation going around today. A lot of rumor, all right? One thing that Denise always did in her videos was say, here's a rumor. It's just a rumor. It's not a fact. Don't report it as a fact. She would yell about that a lot. She hated that. So I'm going to be very careful in how I approach this. There are a lot of rumors flying around, right? But here's the deal. If you don't hear something in a press conference by law enforcement or from reading an official court document, it is simply speculation. All right, period. That's the truth of it. And that sucks, but we have to accept that. Like the statements from Annie Cushing and the mayor about the children were found, those are pretty compelling. But at this point, we have not heard from law enforcement that the two bodies they found were the children. So it is still speculation as far as we're concerned. Okay. No, Linda, I'll be watching it from the judge's thing. So yeah, speculation. There is no official word that the children have been found, although we can assume they were. As far as where they knew how to dig, the search warrant was sealed. Nobody, not the reporters on Court TV, not any YouTuber, not any of the reporters on the ground, nobody except law enforcement knows why they searched those spots or how they got that information. Okay, we can talk about it and we can speculate it. I have a few ideas. Some people think maybe Lori flipped. That's possible. She could try to throw Chad under the bus to save her own butt. It could be they had cadaver dogs on scene. Maybe the dogs hit the spot and that's how they knew where to dig. That's possible. Maybe somebody else sent them a tip. Maybe one of Chad's kids. Maybe now that it's hot and summery and they were out in the yard, they saw something very suspicious, so they called law enforcement. That's possible. There are a whole lot of possibilities here, and some are more plausible than others, but the fact is we do not know. And until they release or unseal that search warrant or the arrest affidavit, we're not going to know. All right, so it's okay to speculate. Just please mark it as speculation and not fact, just so we don't want to get into that rabbit hole of all these crazy facts. Remember what happened with the Heidi Broussard case and some of the YouTube streams about that and some of the Facebook posts about that was a bloody mess. So we're not doing that here. Okay. So it's possible. Everything is possible as far as we know so far. It could have been the cadaver dogs. It could have been Lori. It could have been Chad's kids. It could have been Melanie and Ian. There are a lot of people that could have spilled some info to law enforcement. It could have just been the dogs, so we're just going to have to guess for now and make our best guess. If I had to put money, I would say Melanie and Ian or Chad's son who lived in the home. I believe Chad's son, Seth, and his wife lived in that home with Chad. Not entirely sure. Again, more speculation. So, we don't know. We don't know. And, even, somebody said in a video that Lori lost it when she heard Chad. Who on earth would know that? You'd have to be working in the prison to have seen it firsthand to know that is actually true. So, more speculation. I would like to think that she lost it. I would like to think she had an epic meltdown and started screaming and pounding her fists on the wall. I would love to think that. And I hope someday we get video of that because that would be kind of brilliant. All right, we have 20 minutes left, refreshing all the websites. I'll make sure we'll get it as soon as they start to stream it. All right, nothing's up yet. 20 minutes left. See that booger head? Ugh. But the bottom line is we have to deal with the fact that Lori and Chad, those kids were buried in Chad's backyard. That's a big deal. First of all, how stupid could they possibly be? How stupid could you be if you're Chad Daybell to have those kids buried in your own backyard and still live in that house all this time? That's a level of stupid that's, that's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, and we still have to think about how this happened. Did Alex kill the children? Did Lori do it? Did Chad do it? Did they all do it together? Rhonda, yeah, I did. I actually had a video I put up last night, just a quick recap of everything where I showed some of Nate's footage when he was in the helicopter. Yeah, and it was scary to watch because I was watching it as it happened. And when Nate and the helicopter got there, you just see the yard and people walking around. And then you see one blue tarp put down. And then you get that sinking feeling like, oh, they usually put tarps down when they're finding remains. And then there was another blue tarp. And then they put up the blue tents. And then it was just like, oh, no. Oh, this is bad. Because how many of these true crime things have we seen? When you're looking at blue tarps and tents and people milling about with shovels, what's happening? You know what's happening. So that was very, very hard to watch. Yeah, let me do a sound check. I'm going to test something just to make sure. Let me try streaming one of my own YouTube videos because then I won't get in trouble for that. Hold on 1 second. Sound check. Very good idea. Let's go to my channel. Let's go to my timeline video because that's a fun video. All right, I'm going to share the screen and let me know if you can hear it. Share screen. Share audio is checked. Chrome tab. Vallow case timeline. All right, here we go. Ready? It's muted, of course. There we go. And they only dated for 2 weeks. In November of 2019, Chad tells some people that Lori doesn't have any children. Around the same time. Okay, could you hear that? Oops, there we go. Yes, you could hear that. Okay, perfect. Good. It must just not like sharing the video window audio for some reason. So I'll have to figure that out. I'm using StreamYard to broadcast, and the creator of StreamYard, his name is Gage. He is a great guy, and he's very accessible for questions like that. So I can easily just ask him and figure out how to do that. Oh, the criminal complaint you were talking about. Let me go check my tweet deck. Oh, here we go. Criminal complaint filed against Chad Daybell, 2 felony counts of destruction and concealment of evidence. Oh, that's the criminal complaint from what he's just been charged with. Yeah. Here, let me share it on the screen so we can see if there's any useful information in there. Share screen. Okay, here we go. The defendant, Chad Daybell, on or between the 22nd day of September and the 9th day of June, did willfully conceal and or aid another to willfully conceal human remains. All right, so what they're saying is any time between the last known sighting of the children and yesterday, he did this. So what's the second one? On or between the 8th day of September. All right, so what they're doing, those 2 dates are the dates that the children disappeared, which obviously speaks to the fact that these remains are the children's remains. We know that the last sighting of JJ, as far as I know, was on the 23rd of September. Maybe it was the 22nd. All right, and that's just a matter of confusion. So they're basically saying one of them was JJ, and the September 8th one, that would have been Tylee. So, yeah, that's what that says. That's terrible. I'm going to retweet that. Thank you for sharing that with me. Man. So, yeah, there's our third source of confirmation that these remains are the children. So, yep, thank you, Cherie. That makes total sense now. is really sad. So we're probably going to get another press conference later this afternoon of law enforcement confirming that, because everyone else is confirming it. They may as well. And what we also have to watch for now. So, what's coming up in this case? First, we have Chad's hearing. I believe this is simply an arraignment where the judge is going to look at the charges. They're going to discuss bond, and he'll be sent back to his cell. Hopefully, right now he's being held on a felony without bond. So let's hope that stays true. I do not want to think of Chad Daybell getting bonded out. That would make me a little crazy. So let's hope that. Linda, you can stop blinking that. I'm going to have it right here. I'm going to show the live right here in a few minutes as soon as it starts. 15 minutes. So yeah, we're going to see the arraignment hearing this morning. The next thing that we're going to have to watch for is the autopsy reports. All right, first, the official forensic confirmation that these are the kids. Now, remember, we may all know it's the kids, and law enforcement may even say in the kids, but remember, even in the Gannon Stout case, it was just, a week ago that they officially forensically confirmed it was Gannon after they DNA tested the jawbone, where we all thought that they had already done that, but apparently they hadn't. So, that's a big deal. So we have to wait for the autopsy reports for forensic confirmation that it is the children, but also their cause and manner of death, right? Because we have no idea what happened with these children. And it's going to be very telling to find out how they died. I'm not sure I want to know that, but we have to. This is what we do in true crime. We dig into the details that most people would rather turn away from. But we have no idea how they died, and that's the next big thing to be watching for. Well, Miss Grace, if there is a live press conference, I will absolutely try to bring it live, because I am not going to turn away from this case for a second. This is too big. Yeah, Paula, we didn't know about the identifying Gannon thing until they released that information just like a week ago or so. And it was like, wow. All this time, we just assumed that they did DNA testing and knew for sure it was Gannon. But they had waited for that official confirmation that they just received. That was like, ugh. Yeesh. So, yeah. But, it turned out it was Gannon. They were absolutely right. And maybe their initial DNA testing was, loosely 100%. That doesn't kind of sound right, but yeah, we just got that official confirmation. So this is going to take a while, right? Yes, they may be able to identify the remains by today, but all of the official testing, the autopsy reports, the cause and manner of death, this is not going to be something we're going to know instantly, unless it's very obvious, like a bullet wound in the skull or something like that. But even so, I don't think we're going to hear that level of information for a while. It's probably even going to be sealed, because so far everything in this case is sealed, so we're going to have to be very patient with law enforcement, and we're going to have to tamp down the rumors and just report on facts. So that kind of makes live streams a little boring, because I can't sit here and just speculate all day, but I think it's better to help law enforcement in any way we can to protect the integrity of this investigation, because that's a big deal. Some of the rampant internet speculation that happened during the Heidi Broussard case could have very much hurt that case, and certainly we don't want to be responsible for that. My daughter's here. Is this Rainy?
Yes.
We got a new cat recently, a poor, starving stray cat that my husband found and brought home. She is beautiful. She has a silvery gray, misty kind of fur. Oh, she's gorgeous. I'll get some more pictures of her. But I was live with Linda talking about the cat, and Linda suggested the name Rainy, because I wanted to name her after Denise, but I didn't want to call her Denise. So Linda suggested Rainy, and that is her name. And yesterday was the first day after my live stream where she jumped up in my lap for cuddles and hugs. She finally stopped growling and hissing and trying to eat my face. So, and now she's laying here on my chair right next to me, right next to my butt, being all warm and cuddly. So yeah, Rainy has come around, and I'm feeling like that's a sign. So that's so good news. So yeah, my daughter was just pointing out that Rainey was here, cuddled with me during the live stream. And I'd like to think that Denise is watching from above, and she's jumping up and down and hooping and hollering and hugging JJ and Tylee. But another thought I had, somebody else mentioned this, I think in Discord last night, Charles Vallow. Charles Vallow was a really good dad to both of these kids. Now remember, Tylee Ryan was not Charles' daughter, but he was still very good to her. And he's there with them too. So that's a good feeling. So there we go. They are together. They're safe in their afterlife. Unfortunately, their idiot human parents, Chad and Lori, are responsible. I can't imagine a situation where someone else did harm to the children and buried them in Chad's yard, and those two had nothing to do with it. So, speculation. There you go. There's my big red flag. But can you imagine anything else happening other than those two doing it? I can't. So I'm trying to get my my comments working in StreamYard so I can put them on the screen. Because that's fun. And Laura talking about the death penalty. I used to be very against the death penalty. Very, very much against it. I used to find it a bit hypocritical. Like, if you can say someone shouldn't kill someone, it's really bad, and then you kill them because they killed someone because it's so bad, that's a little hypocritical in my mind. But after some of these cases, the last couple of years, Tim Jones Jr., Michael Wayne Jones, Chad and Lori, Letitia Stout, those cases, I absolutely can get behind the death penalty 100%. Loria, I talked to you on a live stream with Denise, right? Didn't you come on with us at one point? Denise Rainey has passed away unexpectedly on June 3rd. Her family is coping with the loss as best they can. And this was a really big blow to all of us and our community. And it's been really hard to deal with because it was really shocking. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I know that you were very fond of Denise and she was very fond of you too. So I'm sorry to have to be the one to deliver that news to you. But rather you hear it when you're in a room full of people that also loved her. So if you need to talk, you can reach out to me on email, Discord, all that stuff. I'm very sorry that you had to find out this way. Whew. All right, I'm going to look at the judge website because then I will not cry. No crying in true crime. Right, like that would happen. All right, East Idaho News, nothing live yet. The judge site, nothing live yet. I've got about 7 minutes, so I'm hoping something goes live soon so we can cover it. I'm just going to check Facebook again. Leaving no stone unturned here. I'm not going to miss this hearing. All right, Local News 8 will be covering it. Watch Chad Daybell's hearing here. Well, it's not here yet. All right, so I've got like 4 different places that will be airing it ready to go. So the first one that starts, we'll jump in on it. I don't want to miss a second of this. Loria, her family, right now they don't want any donations or flowers or anything like that. What her husband did approve, if you look back on my channel, there's a video for a NCMEC drive. NCMEC, which is the National Center for Exploited and Missing Children, was an organization that was really, really dear to Denise. She really wanted to really focus a lot more on NCMEC in the coming year. So we started a drive. Pom Pom, Julie, another community member, crafted some items, memorabilia, with an image very dear to Denise, and all proceeds from that will be donated to NCMEC in Denise's name. And we told Wayne about it, and he approved it. That is the only family approved thing that's going for her. So if you want to pitch into that, that would be great. But if not, just leave your memories. Go ahead and leave a message. We have a channel in Discord where we all just talk about Denise. You want to tell your fun stories about her, your great memories? That would be wonderful. So, yeah, it's been a hard week. Like last night, I had a very hard night last night. We have 5 minutes left. After I did the live stream yesterday, all about this case and everything, and there was a lot of news and all, everything was great. But once all the noise stopped and everything got quiet, I kind of lost it pretty big time last night. It was rough. All right, News 8, Channel 8 has their player live. There's nothing on the screen yet. Checking the Judge website again, because that's where I'd prefer to get it from. Nothing live yet. All right, a few more minutes. We can do this. So I'm just checking all of the other websites. All right, we'll be live in about 4 minutes with the hearing. All right. I'd really like to stream it from the judge's channel, because law enforcement said in the press conference last night that any media was allowed to share it from the YouTube. They said, just watch it there and stream it to your websites and stuff. So that's, pretty much carte blanche approval to stream that video without any repercussions. So, but there's nothing on his page yet at all. And it could be delayed because, they're probably all trying to figure out how to do it, because they probably don't use StreamYard so often. But a few more minutes. We're still watching. All right, so Chad's hearing is coming up any minute. No, I don't have them. I've got Channel 8 News. I've got the judge's personal YouTube. I've got East Idaho News. I have Facebook looking for lives. It's going to be on one of these for sure, so we just got to hang in there. The YouTube one would be the best, because I know for sure that audio will come through nice and clear. So I will keep refreshing. Gloria, that's what Linda and I were saying yesterday. You know darn well that when Denise found Tylee and JJ up there, she was like, oh, hell no, let's fix this. That's what I like to think, is that Denise had a hand in all of these events, and that's why they were found. There's still nothing on the judge website, still nothing on Channel 8 News. It's live, they're just in a holding pattern. Nothing yet on East Idaho. Come on, you guys. Even if they start streaming and just showing the courtroom or chit-chatting, that'd be great, because then I know we're going to get it. I would prefer that. And to any of you who haven't seen Denise's coverage of this case, once this live is done and I edit the description, or if you go to look in any of my previous Vallow videos, actually any of my videos at all, I think I linked to Denise's channel in every single video I've done. You'll find a link to her channel, Denise Rainey, on YouTube. She has 50 or 60 incredible videos about this case. She dug into this case more deeply than anyone else on YouTube, and she has a wealth of information, and including stuff like the original podcast that Chad and Lori did way back when. She has some great stuff that you can really only find on her channel now. So please check it out if you want to get all the backstory to all of these crazy people. All right, come on. Give me this hearing. Oh, I keep refreshing. I can't stop now. I'm so paranoid we'll miss the first minute. but there's nothing actually live yet. Come on, guys. Give me the hearing. And today's judge will be Judge Farron Edens. That's an interesting name. Never heard that before. Yeah, turtle suit. Oh, what was that case? The what were those people called? The guy with the turtle suit. That was the I ain't do this chick. That was something else. So, Ginger Ellis is telling us that Judge Farron Edens was the first judge in Lori's case. How fitting. How wonderful. Like, come on, East Idaho News. Come on, Judge. Somebody put up a video. Michelle, I'll stream it as soon as it starts. It has not started yet. It's live on 7. Yeah, but is it the court hearing or are they just talking about it? Idaho Channel 7. KTV.com. Watch live. Okay. Stop that. Stop that. Okay, they have a live stream going. I'm looking at it now. But it's just showing the highway. So yeah, it's not the hearing. They're live, but it's not the hearing yet. I'm still watching. I would really prefer to show it from the judge's private channel because personal channel, not private. Because that would be the safest. Got channel 8 ready. Channel 7 ready. Looks very smoggy over there. Where is that? Picture of the highway. I guess that's somewhere in Idaho. East Idaho News does not have anything live yet. Oh my goodness, this is doing my head in. All right, so we're going to hear Chad Daybell in court any minute. Should be an arraignment-style hearing where the judge will hear the charges. They'll discuss bond. They'll set a preliminary hearing or something, and Chad will be sent back to his cell. It shouldn't be a very long hearing, and I'm really, really, really hoping that they do not set an attainable bond for him. I don't want him out on the street. So now I think the maximum sentence for destruction or concealment of evidence is like 5 years. That's not a very heavy sentence. However, that's just the charge to get him in custody. I am sure there are going to be murder charges coming. So, we may even hear that in the hearing this morning. Yep, Miss Gracie is definitely a massive flight risk, just like Lori. But you know what? You got to think, if he's such a flight risk and has all this availability to move around the world and all this money, why was he living in that house with the children buried in the backyard? How dumb can he possibly be? Yep, I hope bail's like 20, 50,000 million bajillion dollars. Or just, right now he's on felony with no bond. Just leave it at that. He doesn't need bond. He needs to stay in jail. And so does Lori. Forget her $1 million bond. Just book her. Now remember, if Chad gets murder charges, Lori's probably going to see those too. So that would be good. Come on. Judge Edens, make your video go. It could just be delayed. They're probably figuring out the logistics and all the courts aren't used to having to do like Zoom calls for court hearings, so they're probably getting all that straight. Now, All right. Mark Means is currently Chad's attorney. However, Mark Means is also Lori's attorney. And Mark Means is not a criminal defense attorney. He's a family law kind of guy. So they are definitely going to need some new representation. And if they're smart, they will not use the same lawyer. That never, ever works out well. So we're going to see what happens. Still nothing from the judge. Still nothing from Channel 8 or Channel 7. But I'm watching them all. So yeah, hopefully he'll get a new attorney. Mark Means yesterday declined to comment. He was approached by one of the reporters. I don't know if it was Justin or Nate or somebody approached him, and he declined to comment on the events of the day. So yeah, poor Mark. I mean, I kind of feel bad for Mark Means because he is in so over his head. You know, he has no clue what to do with this. Oh man. It'll be interesting to see if Mark Means shows up in the courtroom. Somehow I don't think he's going to. Is Law and Crime live with court? I have no idea what Law and Crime is doing. If they are live with court, they'll be streaming the same stream I will be because it's only coming from one source. There won't be multiple cameras in the courtroom. It is only being streamed by the judge, apparently, and everyone else will be picking it up from there. But there's currently nothing live yet. Here, I'll show you what's going on. Let me share my screen. Share screen, share audio. Chrome. All right, here we go. This is Channel 7 News. We see this lovely smoggy shot of the highway. All right, so that's all they've got so far. This is Channel 8 News. This is live. It is playing. That's all they've got. This is the judge website. Nothing there. So we've got nothing. This is East Idaho News. Nothing here yet. Nothing live. All right, so as soon as any one of these goes live with the hearing, you will have it in your face. Oh, that's Boise, Idaho? I see. Oh, yeah. Have we all seen Chad's beautiful mugshot? I think I put it in Discord. We all put it in Discord yesterday because it was funny. Where is it? Silly Chad. And he's got that darn smug look on his face again. You know, it's like, how could you just look like he's like, I'm so irritated that they arrested me. I'm a god, you know, I'm translated. Like, yeah, well, why don't you use your teleportation powers now, buddy? Oh, we're live somewhere. All right, Channel 7 is live. Ooh, they were loud. They're not showing the hearing yet. They're just outside, so I'm not going to stream that because that is their stuff. If it cuts to the courtroom, I'll bring it to you in 1 second. Still nothing on the judge's channel. Oh, yep, here we go. Here we go. All right, streaming in 5. Share screen. All right, here it comes. Here we go. I'm going to click over real quick just to make sure you can hear it. All right, can everyone hear it? Yes, you can. Okay,
Judge,
here we go.
We're going to do the same as well.
Here it is.
All right, we're only going to be about a minute and a half, and then I'll start.
If you can't hear it, send me a message on Discord right now so I'll see it and know that you can't hear it. And that is an image of Judge Farron Eddins, who could probably use a haircut. Just my personal thoughts. He looks a bit tired today. I'm clicking over to Discord to see if I got a message. I guess you can all hear it. Check. Sound is good. Okay, excellent. All right, I'm going to stay on the screen and not click off.
Case.
John Pryor is seated with Chad Daybell. That is not Mark Means.
One moment.
Look at how much weight Chad has lost. My goodness. Stress will do that to you. Can't see the comments. It's killing me. Maybe I can. Can I look at the... Oh. I think I can still watch the YouTube comments and stream the
I'm
video.
going to go on the record. Good morning here in Fremont County, Idaho. This is the case of CR 2220-755, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. This matter is being held at the Fremont County courtroom via Zoom remotely. Mr. Daybell, the defendant, appears with his counsel.
Sorry about that. There was another
Mr.
tab going.
Pryor, at the jail here in Fremont County. Mr. Wood appears remotely from his office. There is the clerk here, there's a court reporter, and there is some IT support that is also on the line. This is the date and time set for an initial appearance. The reason we're holding this hearing remotely via Zoom is due to a order that's been issued by the Supreme Court. In that order, it designates that whenever plausible, hearings are to be held remotely in order to effectuate safety of society and effectuate safety of all employees in the courtroom. In future proceedings, it will be an issue that's addressed case by case and hearing by hearing. That order is dated April 22nd, 2020, and has been issued by the Idaho Supreme Court. Mr. Daybell, do you read, speak, and understand the English language?
Yes.
Mr. Daybell, can you hear me okay today?
Yes.
Mr. Daybell, it appears that you have hired private counsel, Mr. John Pryor, is that correct?
Yes.
And you'd like to retain him. Mr. Pryor, has there been a formal notice of appearance that has been entered?
Judge, I will get that filed within a short period of time.
All right, but Mr. Daybell, Mr. Pryor is your attorney for this hearing, is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Daybell, have you seen a notification of rights form that was provided to your counsel prior to the hearing here today?
Yes.
Do you understand all of your legal rights?
Yes.
Mr. Daybell, in addition to the rights that were contained in that notification of rights form that was given to you, I'm going to advise you of additional rights under Idaho Criminal Rule 5. Number one, you have the right to be at the initial appearance or appear via Zoom remotely like you are today. You don't need to make any statements today. You have the right to know what charges are being brought against you. You have the right to bail. You have the right to counsel. And you have all of the other rights that have been presented to you in that notification of rights. Do you have any questions about your rights, Mr. Daybell? I didn't hear your answer.
No. He does not.
You understand your legal rights, is that correct?
I do.
All right. Mr. Daybell, did you receive a copy of the warrant of arrest as well as the criminal complaint that has been filed here in Fremont County in this case?
Yes.
Mr. Daybell, have you had a chance to review that criminal complaint as well as the arrest warrant with your counsel?
Yes.
Mr. Pryor, I can read the criminal complaint in its entirety, or I can summarize it for you.
Judge, we'll waive actually formal reading of the criminal complaint at this time, and I've discussed that matter with Mr. Daybell, and we're ready to proceed forward without either a summary or a formal reading at this point.
All right. The court is going to summarize briefly what the charges are, so that's on the record, and then we'll address the other issues we need to address. Let me get one more thing out of the way, Mr. Pryor. ultimately the Supreme Court order has ordered these hearings be held remotely, but it's my understanding your client is willing to waive his right to be here in court in person. Is that correct?
It is, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Daybell, is that also correct?
Yes.
With regards to the criminal complaint, it was filed dated June 10th, 2020. There are 2 counts in the criminal complaint. The first count is destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, a felony, a violation of Idaho Code 182603. The maximum punishment for that charge is up to 5 years in the state penitentiary and/or up to a $10,000 fine. The allegation is that the defendant, Chad Guy Daybell, on or between the 22nd day of September 2019 and the 9th day of June 2020 in the county of Fremont, state of Idaho, did willfully conceal and/or aid and abet another to willfully conceal human remains, knowing that said human remains were about to be produced, used, and/or discovered as evidence in a felony proceeding. Inquiry and/or investigation authorized by law with the intent to prevent it from being so produced, used, and/or discovered. Count 2 is also the same charge, destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, a felony. It's punishable by up to 5 years in the state penitentiary and/or up to a $10,000 fine. It alleges that the defendant, Chad Guy Daybell, on or between the 8th day of September 2019 and the 9th day of June 2020 in the county of Fremont, state of Idaho, did willfully destroy, alter, and/or conceal human remains, and/or did aid and abet another to willfully destroy, alter, and/or conceal human remains, knowing that said human remains were about to be produced, used, and/or discovered as evidence in a felony proceeding. Inquiry and/or investigation authorized by law with the intent to prevent it from being so produced, used, and/or discovered. Mr. Daybell, do you understand the allegations on both counts that have been brought against you?
I do.
Mr. Daybell, do you also understand the maximum penalties on each of those counts?
Yes.
Mr. Daybell, do you understand that those maximum penalties could run consecutively, one after the other, or they could run concurrently? Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. We've gone through the criminal complaint. We've gone through each count. I've advised the defendant of his right. We've gone through that form. Let's discuss the next hearing that's going to be set. Mr. Pryor and Mr. Wood, that next hearing would be a preliminary hearing or a probable cause hearing. The defendant has a right to have that within 14 days if he's incarcerated. It's my understanding that based upon previous conversations that there'll be a waiver of that speedy preliminary hearing. Is that correct, Mr. Pryor?
It is, Your Honor. I've had that discussion with Mr. Daybell. In addition, I've had that discussion with Fremont County Prosecuting Attorney, and at this point, we'll waive the time.
Mr. Wood, is that correct as far as the stipulation?
Yes, the state's fine with that, Your Honor.
Mr. Pryor, the court's going to grant that waiver and acknowledge that it's knowingly and voluntarily made, but I will need a written waiver of speedy preliminary hearing so that that can be in the file for the record. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll do that. Thank you.
All right. With regards to a preliminary hearing, let's first talk about the logistics of that. Mr. Wood, how long do you foresee it taking to accomplish a preliminary hearing in the future?
No longer than a day.
Okay. 1 day, Mr. Pryor, do you concur with that?
Judge, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage, but for practical purposes, I think a day would be appropriate.
All right, we'll set this for 1 day. Mr. Wood and Mr. Pryor, do you have a timeline that you'd like to look at as far as scheduling that today?
Judge, my preference would be within 4 to 6 weeks.
Mr. Wood?
That's fine. We do have a preliminary hearing on July 9th and 10th in the Lori Vallow case. And so if we are going to push it out that far, I'd ask that this prelim be at least the week of the July 16th.
Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town the week of July 16th, and I won't be back for some time. So if we need to have it in July, it probably needs to be towards the beginning of July or into June. Otherwise, it's going to have to be the last week of July. Mr. Pryor, does that work with your schedule?
Judge, the latter part of June and the first week of July, the 1st and the 2nd of July would be ideal for me if that's available to the court and to Mr. Wood.
We can
Mr.
make
Wood?
that work.
All right, let's look at dates then. I'm looking at the calendar. The end of June, it looks like those Monday is the 29th, and then Tuesday is the 30th, and then Wednesday is July 1st, Thursday, July 2nd. Which of those days do both of you prefer?
I think the 2nd would be best for the state.
Mr. Pryor, does that work for you?
Judge, I believe the 2nd falls on a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So I would like to see if we could do the 1st, and if necessary, we can have the 2nd available in the event this thing runs a little longer, Your Honor.
Okay, so the 2nd is a Thursday, Mr. Pryor, but I appreciate that you would like to have extra time if it does go over. So if we set it for the 1st, Mr. Wood, can we do that? And then if it spills over into the 2nd, we'll make sure that date's available.
That'd be fine.
Okay. We'll set that then July 1st and July 2nd for the preliminary hearing or the probable cause hearing. Lastly, the court has issued the arrest warrant. The court designated that it would address bond and or bail at the hearing set today. And so I'd like to hear argument from both parties regarding bail. So why don't I hear from the state first, and then I'll hear from the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state is requesting the bail be set at $1 million. While we recognize that felony concealing of evidence only has a maximum sentence of 5 years per charge, I think the background and context of this case necessitates a higher bail. One of the primary reasons we are asking that bail be set in that amount is that the evidence that has been concealed in this case, it's not simply a document, drugs, a gun. These are human remains. And we can, although those remains have not yet been positively identified, we are aware that those remains are the remains of children, which we believe is an aggravating factor. We have asked that the probable cause affidavit be sealed, but I would ask the court to take note of paragraphs 39 and 40 and the manner of the concealment of one of those bodies, which the state finds to be particularly egregious, both an aggravating factor and bears on character as Rule 40 as Rule 46 allows us to look at. Your Honor, we understand that the possible sentence on this case is not that long, but knowing what the subject matter is, we find it extremely serious. And we would also note that because of what has been found on Mr. Daybell's property, should he bail out, he has strong incentive to flee. Clearly, this is the beginning now of an investigation into the deaths of children who are found on his property, and so that provides a strong incentive to flee, and we would ask that the bail reflect that. Whatever the court sets as bail, we would ask that the conditions be set that should he bond out, that he be required to wear an ankle monitor, and that his movement be restricted to Madison and Fremont counties.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Mr. Pryor, I'll hear from you next.
And Judge, just for purposes of the record, my understanding is the court's allowing us to address this issue of bond, but that in no way limits us in the future to file a further motion for bond if that's necessary. And I believe that's the court's understanding, Mr. Wood's understanding as well, is it not, Judge?
Let me make that clear for the record. Because of the nature of timing and such, generally speaking, the court sets a bail based upon a probable cause affidavit, and then if a motion needs to be filed after, it can be filed. I did not set a bail because, frankly, it was timing. And so, correct, Mr. Pryor, I'm going to give you complete ability to file a renewed motion or a first motion to deal with bail. I guess de novo is how you could look at that. And so I'm going to set bail today. When you file your motion, the court will definitely give you a hearing for that, and we'll take it and make a decision based upon that.
Thank you, Your Honor. But in regards to argument, Your Honor, I would point out that the charges are, as Ms. Wood pointed out, carry a maximum of 5 years. Mr. Daybell is not charged with anything more serious. And quite honestly, for the prosecuting attorney to assume that in the future he may or may not do that, and that we should increase the bail with the idea that in the future there may be something else coming down the pipe is just clearly contrary to what the purpose of bail is. Bail is to assure that Mr. Daybell shows up to court. Bail is to assure that he's not a flight risk, and there's nothing, in, as far as I'm concerned, in his history that indicates that he's going to flee the jurisdiction. I would refer the court to the affidavit on number 26, and it talks about the last time that they saw the kids. If Mr. Wood's intention is to pursue further charges, my belief is that he would have pursued those. And quite honestly, at this point, the court needs to take consideration of what the current charges are and whether or not Mr. Daybell will show up to court. Mr. Daybell has taken the initiative to hire private counsel. He has shown up to the proceeding today. Obviously, he's in custody. But Judge, when the police showed up at his house last night, Mr. Daybell didn't flee. Mr. Daybell didn't abscond. Mr. Daybell didn't run. Mr. Daybell's intention was, through his counsel, to turn himself into the court if that was something that was going to happen and address these issues. He has every intention of addressing these issues. He has significant family in the community. He has kids that live here. He owns property here. And quite honestly, I disagree with Mr. Wood. Mr. Daybell has every intention of staying in the community and every motivation to stay in the community and address these charges. So at this point, Judge, I would ask the court to put the bail at an amount that's appropriate for a 5-year felony sentence. I understand that there's been a significant amount of publicity with this, but publicity is not a reason to raise the bail to an extraordinary amount. And I would suggest that Mr. Wood's suggestion that a $1 million bail is okay, it's not okay, Judge. A $1 million bail is not okay for a 5-year felony sentence. And if in the future Mr. Wood decides to pursue other charges, I'm sure we'll address this again. But at this point, Your Honor, I think it's important for the court to set a bail at an appropriate amount based on the 2 felony 5-year sentences. I would ask the court for $50,000 on each count for a total of $100,000, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor. The court has listened carefully to the argument of both parties. The court has reviewed Idaho Criminal Rule 46, specifically the factors contained in Idaho Criminal Rule 46 under subsection C. There are 10 different factors that the court has looked at. The court has also looked carefully at Idaho Code 192904 and the factors that are designed therein. In looking at the factors in 192904, there are 4 specifically that the legislators have set forth. Number 1, ensuring the appearance of the defendant. Number 2, ensuring the integrity of the court process, including the right of the defendant to bail as constitutionally provided. Ensuring the protection of victims and witnesses. And number 4, ensuring public safety. The court is cognizant that there is an absolute constitutional right to bail provided in both the Idaho Constitution and the U.S. Constitution. The court has taken all of those factors into account, and based upon those factors and the charge, the court is going to set bail in the amount of $1 million. The court notes that the charge is destruction, alteration, and concealment of evidence as pertained in the criminal complaint. I've taken all those factors into account. Specifically, the factor in Rule 46C, subsection 6, which designates I'm to take into account the nature of the current charge and any mitigating or aggravating factors that may bear on the likelihood of conviction and the possible penalty. The underlying charge here is destruction, alteration, and concealment of evidence. And the allegation is that the evidence was human remains of two different people. That's an aggravating fact, and the court has taken that into account. If bail is posted, Mr. Pryor, I'm also going to make conditions of bail. Those conditions will be as follows. Number one, I'm going to order that a waiver of extradition be provided to the Fremont County Office of the Sheriff. The prosecutor must approve the waiver of extradition by his signature on the waiver of extradition. A copy of that waiver must be filed with the court. Number two, I'm going to order that the defendant shall reside within the boundaries of Bonneville, Jefferson, Madison, and Fremont counties in the state of Idaho. The defendant shall not leave these counties for any reason. Number three, the defendant shall provide the court with his current address and shall not change his address without notifying the court. Number four, the defendant shall keep in regular contact with his attorney. Number five, the defendant shall appear for all court appearances. Number six, the defendant shall obey all laws of the state of Idaho and the United States of America. Number seven, the defendant will sign up for pretrial services and check in with pretrial services here in Fremont County on a weekly basis, as directed. The defendant shall have absolutely no contact with the victims' families and or any of the state's witnesses in this case. Contact shall include, but be not limited to, verbal contact, written contact, visual contact, text messaging contact, email or internet contact, and or telephonic contact. Such contact shall also include contact through third parties. Number nine, the defendant must wear an ankle monitor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He must have the ankle monitor in place before he is released from the Fremont County Jail. Any violations of the geographical limitation imposed herein must be reported immediately to the Fremont County Sheriff's Office and the court. If the defendant is notified that under the order to wear the ankle monitor, intentionally leaving the area of restriction, except for the purpose of obtaining emergency medical care, may be prosecuted as a crime of escape and subject the defendant to penalties under Idaho Code. If the defendant fails to comply with all of these terms, the court may, pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 46I and Idaho Code Section 2919, revoke the defendant's release and eligibility for posting of bail. Mr. Daybell, Mr. Pryor, do both of you understand what bail has been set at, as well as any conditions that must be met in order for that bail to be set?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Mr. Wood, any questions?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be in recess for today, pending that preliminary hearing. There will be a few things that need to be worked out, and we're going to go off the record for now, and I'll see everybody back here at the beginning of July. Council will have to communicate regularly, both with the court and with each other, about how this hearing is going to be held, whether it's going to be held remotely or whether it's going to be held in person. Mr. Wood or Mr. Pryor, do either of you wish to address that issue today?
Not today, Judge.
No, and I can, Mr. Pryor and I can visit and talk about that and see if we can come to an arrangement before we address that issue with the court.
All right, I will just state for the record that the court will need to make findings if we're going to do it live in person, and we'll address that at a future hearing on whether or not that's going to take place. With that, we'll be in recess. Thanks, everybody, for appearing.
Yeah, I've been talking into the microphone when my microphone is muted. Whew, I'm jumping up and down over here. That is good news. Oh my goodness. All right. Good news. We have a lot to talk about. Okay. First of all, Chad's bond is $1 million. I thought for a second that the judge might lower that, but he came through in the end. He cited all the counts that he considered in factoring this bond, and he went for the $1 million. Thank you, Judge Edens. Thank you. I don't think, like Linda said, I don't think any bail bondsman is going to touch this. They didn't touch Lori's case. I don't think they're going to touch Chad's either. So, excellent. All right, that butthead is in jail for a while now. The charges that they read, there's only the 2 counts of destruction or concealment of evidence. Those are not very serious charges, I know, and that's a little bit scary, but just wait. As soon as they get those autopsy results in, you're going to see more charges. All right, absolutely. We're going to see more charges. Kay confirmed 1 set of remains is JJ. Okay. Yeah, we at this point, none of us doubt that the 2 child remains that they found are JJ and Tylee. We do have to wait for official confirmation from law enforcement. But you know, the family has said so, the mayor said so, you know, we're pretty soon. Now, the one thing that made me catch my breath during that hearing, did you hear when the state said that the manner in which these bodies were concealed or destroyed, one was particularly egregious? And I spelled it wrong when I typed it. It's E-G-R, not A, but whatever. They were particularly egregious. That makes me a little sick to my stomach. All right, we have no idea what that could mean. It could mean a lot of horrible things, so don't let your mind wander too far, okay? But it's not good. It's a very bad sign. All right, so what we need to do is wait for the autopsy reports to figure out what happened to these children. Yeah, the state said, and when they were discussing their $1 million bond, why they wanted it set to 1 million. One of the factors was that one of the remains that they found was handled in such an egregious manner that is another aggravating circumstance. Not, the fact that they're children is aggravating. The egregious manner in which one of these remains was concealed is also an aggravating factor. So, whew, yeah, it's not good. That's basically what I'm saying is when we get the autopsy reports, y'all better be ready with a bottle of wine or Xanax or whatever you're going to need, because that's going to be rough times. All right. So yeah, we'll have to see what happened on that. But we do know that there were 2 bodies found. We do know the bodies are children. And that's all we officially know. But with statements from the family and the mayor, we're pretty sure now that you know, I'm confident in saying that JJ and Tylee have been found. And you guys know I do not say stuff like that unless I've heard it from law enforcement directly. But in this case, with everything that we've heard, JJ and Tylee have been found. And Chad Daybell is now in jail. Lori Vallow Daybell is in jail. We also heard that there is a preliminary hearing on Lori Vallow's case on July 10th. Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing will be July 1st. Of course, I will be here live with you, and we will watch all of that together and see what happens. Going forward, all right, I'm going to say this because Denise would say this. She said it in some of her videos. Go back and watch them if you want to see. There's going to be a lot of rumors flying, all right, from now until July 1st. You're going to hear everything under the sun. You're going to hear people say with conviction that, you know, the aliens from planet Narubu came down and blah, blah, blah. You're going to hear all the crazy stuff. Please remember, if it's not factual, if you've not heard it from law enforcement or read it in a court document with your own eyes, it is speculation. So we have to treat it as such. Okay. We can sit here and we can do, you know, a chat one night and just talk about all the rumors and all of our speculations and all our thoughts, as long as we market it as speculation only. All right. So please be careful. Don't come at me with so-and-so said this on the live stream. It must be true. I don't want to hear that. I don't. Because, nah. There have a lot of problem YouTubers going around lately with the Heidi Broussard case, the Morphew case, and this case. Let's not bring that here. Okay. Leave that over there, wherever they are. All right. So we're going to deal with facts here. That's what Denise would do. If you watch her videos, she said that so many times. This is a rumor. And she'd yell, I don't want rumors. So we're going to try and stick to the facts. Now, interestingly, they were going to read the arrest affidavit, but they waived, Chad waived that. Waived his right to have that read, just, to speed things up. But what he did read was just the document that we read earlier. I'm trying to find it so we can go over it again. I don't know where I put it. I thought I tweeted it, the one that Cherie sent out this morning. Basically, it's just saying that the charges against him currently, one is from September 22nd to June 9th, and the other one is from September 8th to June 9th. That between those two periods of time, these remains that they found were destroyed or concealed. All right, so we know that because we know the last dates of the children were seen. We know yesterday's date, so there you go. But, the only other new thing that we've heard is what the state said about the egregious circumstances that one of the remains was found in. Man, it's hard to keep my brain from going to think what that could mean, but it's not going to be pretty. So, be prepared for that. Remember, let's not jump on the rumors. Let's wait. I'm hoping that we're going to get an autopsy report this week. I expect that we're going to get a formal identification today, maybe tomorrow, and then within another 5 to 7 days, the official cause and manner of death, unless they seal it. They might seal that before the hearing, so we may have to wait till July to get that information. So, we will be doing what we can. And again, we do not have the arrest affidavit. We don't have the search warrant that they used for yesterday's search. So we still don't know how police came to prove their probable cause to get that search warrant. Did they get a tip from someone? Was it, how did they know? What did they have to be able to prove to a judge that they needed that search warrant? There's something there. We're going to have to wait for official word on that. All right. We have no idea still. Hopefully they'll release the arrest affidavit, which might give us some clues. I don't think they're going to release the search warrant affidavit. I think that would probably either be in an evidentiary hearing or actually at trial. So we're going to have to wait for a while for that, I think, unfortunately. But, oh, my goodness, deep breath. Guys, we found JJ and Tylee. Let that sink in for a minute. It doesn't seem real to me yet, because this has been a very long road with so much speculation about where they could be, so much hope that they were just in a bunker somewhere preparing for the end of days, but now we have that resolution, even though it's the worst possible resolution and it's going to hurt. It is resolution. So now the healing process can begin. I know that this case affected people very deeply, some more than others, obviously, but it's a big case. But now we have the resolution. We know that JJ and Tylee are found, and in their new form of life, they are safe. All right. So all we have to do is wait and see what happens to Chad Daybell and Lori, and I will stay on the case. I have my tweet deck open. You saw it in my share screens. I've got bunches of columns going with all the people covering it. So as soon as there's any breaking news, I'll be back here. If there's another press conference, I would say, if you haven't clicked the notification bell, I'm not saying this for some sort of great, YouTube prize, but if there is a press conference, I will come back live. So if you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified as soon as that happens. All right. And I'll come back and we'll stream it and we'll talk about it. So you might want to do that just in case. But I'll be watching it. I'm not leaving my computer or my phone all day, because I do expect that we'll hear from probably Rexburg PD at some point today. So Whew, man, I need a drink. I don't drink. I'm really not an alcohol person, but I could use some kind of drink right now. Something with umbrella and fruit. That would be great. Okay, so I'm going to log off here because maybe, a shower would be a good idea. And I'm going to play with my cat Rainy and try to absorb what we heard. Yeah, reach out to me on Discord, on Twitter. My email address, awinreesepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to talk, anyone has my phone number. If I've given you my phone number, you feel free to call me because I don't give my phone number to someone I don't want to call me. So, yeah, it's okay. But yeah, I need a deep breath and I need to take a break here because that was some news. But I love you all. Please stay safe. Please take care of yourselves. If anyone needs to reach out and talk, if you're dealing with the grief about Denise and stuff, reach out. All right, you're not alone. We're all in this together. And I love all of you. All right, so we won, guys. They're in jail. We got this. All right. As our dearest friend Denise would say, peace out, Girl Scout.